Amon-Ra St. Brown, the person who's going to help, Jared Goff or the other way around or, mutually get to these precipices that we hope the Detroit Lions get to, Stick. Amon-Ra St. Brown. It's time to start talking about what we expect of these players because we got a lot of people who got paid. We got a lot of players who we know are going to be probably in the top 5 of their position groups. I love the graphics now that you're seeing top duos in the NFL. And if you would have said Amon-Ra and J-Mo last year, at the start of last year, people would have called you crazy. So shout out to J-Mo too. But it's Amon-Ra as that wide receiver 1 and all the things he's been since he's been drafted here. Exceeded a lot of expectations, what people thought he could be. Now we're sitting here talking about a guy who's actualized Pro Bowls, All Pros, got this team to a couple division titles. What do you expect more of Amon-Ra St. Brown?
I think basically more of the same. And the reason why more of the same is more than acceptable is we put out a graphic on our social media, which is pretty telling about how Amon-Ra St. Brown has started off his spectacular career. 40 receptions away from 3rd in Lions history. He's 393 receiving yards away from 4th in Lions history. And he's 4 touchdowns away from 3rd in Lions history. Does anybody have a guess who 3rd is right now in terms of receiving touchdowns in Lions history? No.
3rd. So, what? Say it again. You said 1st, 2nd.
Who's currently 3rd?
We have what? Johnny Morton. We have Herman Moore. We have Calvin. We got Golden Tate.
Roy Williams.
Nate Burleson.
Marvin Jones.
Marvin
Jones
Jr.
Marvin Jones. Yeah.
We were all off.
Yeah.
No, Marvin Jones Sr.
yeah, Marvin Jones Sr.
We were so off with this one.
I went through all of these names,
Junior?
and none of those guys are it. Seriously?
Yeah, no, he
How
did.
many years was he here, bro?
Not many, but he certainly he racked up the touchdowns. That's for sure. And with Herman and Calvin.
Shout out to him
the
too,
top.
friend of the show, Marvin Jones Jr.
Yeah, shout out. You see, Johnny Morton is up near the top of certain lists. I believe Brett Perriman is actually currently 4th now on the receiving yards list. But Amon-Ra St. Brown has only been in the league for 4 years, and he's already basically like a few good games away from being objectively the 3rd greatest receiver in Lions history. I expect him to be more than the 3rd greatest receiver in Lions history when it's all said and done. But you could actually quantify it, not projections, actually quantify it. And yeah, I expect more of the same from Amon-Ra St. Brown. You've seen just steady improvement, a 900-yard rookie year, 1,000-yard second year, 2 consecutive first-team All-Pros. He's just, him and Jared Goff as a combination, they just fit like a glove. Whenever there needs to be a big 3rd down, a big just conversion or touchdown, anything, Amon-Ra St. Brown is as reliable as they come. He's got the surest of hands. He runs great routes. He's probably the deadliest slot receiver we have in the game right now. I expect multiple more All-Pros. I'm not necessarily going to call for it's got to be first team or it's a bust because there's a lot of mouths to feed on this offense, but I didn't think he was going to do it at certain parts last year, but he did. So I wouldn't count against him getting another first-team All-Pro.
I don't count against it either because as the defenses continue to try and react and overreact to what the Lions have available to them in terms of all those pass-catching options, by the end of the season, we're going to see water find its level, and that is Amon-Ra St. Brown. I do believe he's going to be somebody that, more so than this year, they're going to find ways to get him the ball a whole lot more, to rely and lean on him. Do they necessarily have to? I'm not sure. I believe that when you have something where you know you can dictate, and yes, they had a historic time on offense last year, but I want to be able to get Goff into a comfort zone even more so than we've seen him have with Amon-Ra. And I love the fact that Brad Holmes, who understood who Jared Goff was with his prior, being in proximity to him out in L.A., he understood who he was and probably what he would need in terms of to get the best out of Jared Goff. And that's what they stated. They said, we know Jared Goff can make every throw we would ask him to. But with that also comes what throws you're going to ask him to based on the skill sets you know he has and what types of players do you need around him. So when we go and we take Amon-Ra in the 4th round, how many of us still had the memories fresh in our minds of one Calvin Johnson? Everybody wanted to recreate that type of wide receiver. But we got Amon-Ra St. Brown, who we said, you know what, we like the identity, we like the DNA, we like what he's made of, but he's not quite what we remember as it relates to our classic, wide receivers. How long did they chase that? Mike Williams, Roy Williams,
Sure.
Those big wide receivers, Charles Rogers. But then they got it right with Calvin, and I feel like, even after Calvin, they still tried to find those types of receivers. Now you got one who said, we like everything that Amon-Ra can do on the field from a speed standpoint, from a route running standpoint, from staying in there just a little bit longer, knowing you're getting the attention from the safety of the top. He still would stay in there and get crushed and take hits. When I saw him get his chest kneeled on in that Vikings game, I knew he's hurt. And when it came out later that boy was getting injections into his ribs for that, and still played that season out, it was just like, okay, this guy is something different, because it's not just showing the toughness, which we've seen some of our greatest role players go out there and show grit and determination. He's doing this from the standpoint of being a star, being your number one wide receiver too. And that to me just it makes me excited for everything he can be, because we know this. He's one of those guys too who, what ceiling? What prime? What list are you trying to box me into? And that's what I like about Amon-Ra. And they gave Jared Goff, in my opinion, really the most perfect kind of wide receiver one you could have for his skill set. Windows, timing, knowing I'm going to put the ball there. Amon-Ra will be there. Look at some of those routes, and it's like, these guys got it, man. They got that chemistry in line.
Yes, and one thing I want to clear up as well, and somebody put it in the chat. I forgot who it was. I apologize. When I say from the slot, I don't want to put Amon-Ra St. Brown into a box. He actually played more snaps last year out wide than in the slot. So he's not just a slot guy. It's just, I think with his skill set and with his ability to, stop and start fast and have great hands and run good routes, I think in the slot he's even more unfair than he is out wide. And he's unfair both. He's a top 5 receiver in football. No question about it.
I see Jason Kenyon in some of the chat just to get them involved. He says, you can't play man or zone and cover this group easily at all. What up, though, with Detroit Gunny? ASRB14 can play all the wide receiver positions and continue to produce. And it's cool to see all of the Amon-Ra St. Brown love, because sometimes I believe, we get into a position to where we know our guys are good, but do we believe that they're that good? I believe Amon-Ra is that good. He's a different type from what we saw with Calvin, who did it over a majority of seasons, and we knew right from the get-go in terms of the catch radius, how special he was, being able to go up and catch the rock over multiple defenders, the speed that he possessed with his frame, the route running. We knew that there were going to be special moments from that. With Amon-Ra St. Brown, how many people were sitting here saying, based on the measurables, there's going to be special moments. But how many special moments has he delivered? That means that it's been even more so than what the naturally gifted would be. This is all work. These are the things. When they say we're looking for the players that identify with the city, that's the type of stuff that like the Detroit Kool-Aid part of it gets me really fired up about Amon-Ra St. Brown. And when you're talking about what we expected or didn't expect or didn't see, that there was going to be opportunity for him to make all-team first pro, not because of a lack of talent, but because, hey, man, there's even more miles to feet. No, he still went out and found a way to do something that's hard to do here in Detroit, and that's receive some acknowledgement from national media on that top scale. Think about what we're talking about. We just came off of the discussion with Cade Cunningham, and now we're talking about Amon-Ra St. Brown, who has, for multiple years now, proven to the people who he is and broken whatever that Detroit versus everybody ceiling is. Like I told you, what ceiling? Whether it's his potential or whether it's this type of stuff. He went out there and did it. We didn't think we thought this man's gonna get passed over. And remember how pissed he was with the Pro Bowl stuff?
Yeah,
he was pissed. And so that's why it's like to see how this type of stuff ends, and to see how he's going through. I thought we loved our players more than than everybody else, to an unhealthy way, including how we will drink all the Kool-Aid for them. But he actually went out there and he's literally checking off all of those boxes that we as Kool-Aid drinkers set up for him. And that's where, when you look at this season, I do look forward to Amon-Ra being in all of those top 5 wide receiver in the NFL conversations. I just do.
Yeah, and he already is.
Yeah.
I think he's getting his just due. He's about, I think, ranked consensusly about where he should be. I would put Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase over him for now, and then
they always put him at that 5 spot. I think he's going to make a better claim, though.
I was going to say I would put him anywhere from like 3 to 6. I think there's the top 2, then there's like the next 4 or 5, and I think Amon-Ra St. Brown is in that next up 4 or 5. And one of the reasons why too is, and maybe I'm creating narratives out of thin air, but I don't think that I am. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown gets slept on a little bit in terms of this fan base on to how he's performed in the playoffs. Because I saw something from a Wheezy D313. It looked like there was some tone to it when I was talking about Amon-Ra St. Brown and how good and reliable he is. And and he says, especially in the regular season, I don't understand Amon-Ra St. Brown has over 400 receiving yards in 4 career playoff games. You saw him clinch the game with a big catch against the Rams. You saw him get a touchdown against Tampa Bay. You saw him get over 80 yards in the loss to San Francisco and over 100 yards in the loss to the Commanders. Amon-Ra St. Brown is a great postseason wide receiver.
I'm glad you're saying this because you do got look, what up though with Detroit Gunny, and shout out to you for supporting us. He says you mentioned 6 and you're starting to disrespect Amon-Ra St. Brown 14. You said you would have him anywhere from 3 to 6, and I can understand that. I can understand it, and that's why I said as Detroiters, I know how zoomed in we're gonna be because I can see him being 4th on the list.
I said as high as 3rd for the record. I said as high as 3rd.
But that's where, look, we got that guy we can believe in because I saw another comment that intrigued me too. I'm going to try and find it here. Oh, here you go. Eric Allen. He says, the Sun God's showing that you don't need to be 6'4" and run a 4.3 to be a top 3 wide receiver in the league. Oh, and also, you don't need to be a first-round pick either. Keep burning bright, stud. I like that type of stuff from our guys, especially when you see the type of investment they made in an Isaac Tesla. When you look online, there are huge pockets of corners of social media world full of Isaac Tesla hopium, bro.
Yes. Oh.
Full of it. And people believe that he has a good opportunity to kind of follow in those footsteps of Amon-Ra. Maybe not have the levels of success, but you're just hoping that these are the types of players that Brad Holmes can continue to identify because Amon-Ra has cashed in well beyond what any probably would have expected. All-pro, wide receiver. A first-teamer at that. And a top 5 wide receiver that you could take into any argument, you could take into any conversation, and even your most your most fearsome haters still have to say, "Oh yeah, Amon-Ra's that dude."
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Penei Sewell's that guy.
Yeah. And I want to read a couple of comments. One of them from Matt Broder because he does. I think this is an unnecessary stray. Can we talk about how egregiously overrated Drake London is, the other USC wide receiver, 8th overall pick? What's so special about his career so far? I don't think he's overrated.
Give him, Broder.
I think that he's properly rated as anywhere from the 12th to 18th best receiver in the NFL at this point. He was fourth in the league in receiving yards last year. I'm not saying that that's necessarily special, but I'm not going to.
Amon-Ra.
Oh, not even close. Not even close. That's why I said 12th to 18th, and that might not even be 12.
I'm seeing some people. Hey, look, my guy Cy Gray. Thank you for supporting. He puts Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, St. Brown, and then fill in the rest. So he has St. Brown at 4.
All right, so and that's about where I would
you
say
said 3 to 6.
Like Jefferson, Chase, and then 3 to 6 would be CD,
You got
AJ.
Jefferson at the top.
Yeah, I got Jefferson at the top.
I actually do too.
Although Chase, there's an argument for him after the season that he had last year. And then
Jefferson been doing it with a new quarterback every year, no matter the proficiency.
dude, I know he's
Is that quarterback?
He's one of the best I've ever seen, quite frankly, and I've said as much. But yeah, anywhere from 3 to 6.
Who wants to glaze the Vikings?
Right. I don't want to.
Why would
but
you ever do that?
I love Justin Jefferson, but 3 to 6 would be CD, Amon-Ra, AJ Brown, maybe Puka, kind of that range. If I'm missing anybody egregious, please let me know. But that's about who I have 3 at 6, and I think that's good company for now. I don't know if Amon-Ra St. Brown will ever get to Justin Jefferson or Chase levels, but if he ends up having more big catches in big moments, to help win a Super Bowl, that's where he's gonna get that type of cachet because he has some things working against him. It's not a knock. Amon-Ra St. Brown is arguably top 3, but Jefferson and Chase are just special. So is Amon-Ra, but I think Jefferson and Chase are a little bit more special to me.
Speaking of, what up, though, Kavasi Chase?
It's just cool. I know you guys are just using the last name of Jamar Jefferson, but I just close my eyes pretending you're talking about me every time. So thank you, Sam. Like I said, pretend that's all about me. So
I love it, man. I love it.
Broder, these are actually some good ones. Is Drake London better than Devontae Smith? I say yes. Is he better than Garrett Wilson? I say no. Is he better than DJ Moore? I say no. Those aren't, but that's a pretty good gauge to me about where the company he keeps. Although I think Garrett Wilson is better than the other two.
Hey, Big Con 51 is actually pissed too. How the F do you put CD over ARSB?
I didn't necessarily. I said they're in that same. They're
You
in that
said
same.
they
Yeah.
Arguably, you could see him with a great stake to 3.
Yes.
Oh, goodness gracious, man! Now they got me thinking because I was like 4, but it's like when you think about it, I don't know, man. Yeah, he does have a great claim to 3. If we said it with our chest, would you put him at 3? I would put him at 3.
I would not. I'd put him at 5.
At 5?
I'd put him at 5. If I'm making the Flannel Sam list, I'd put him at 5. But if you want to put him at 3, I wouldn't kill you for it.
Voice of reason. Hey, Big Con, I was at 4 comfortably. You got me to move that up 1. Chad has been doing that, man. I put on the victory shades because of Dante. Big Con got me here. What about you? 1 JB Smooth, Woodward Sports MVP. How you feeling about this list? Where you think Amon-Ra is in that top 5?
I mean, 4 is cool, but I think I'm going to have to lean towards 3 for me.
Hey, let's go.
I mean, that's just me as it is, but there are a lot of great names on this list that everyone has thrown out there as well, too, with, CD, A.J. Brown, Drake London, the whole debate thing. I don't personally like him as a receiver. If anything, I put Devontae Smith over him, but that's just because I like Smith a lot more. He works at every single route, whereas at Drake London, you could see him taking some plays off. So for me, it's just an effort there, even though stat-wise, London probably has better receptions than Devontae Smith.
Hey, let's rock, man. Let's rock. Willoughby, you got anything to say about this? So I see your face over there, man.
Shoot, it's pretty solid. It's pretty solid for the wide receivers in the Lions. So I'm neutral on this one.
Where you got him in that top 5?
Really,
Some people think it's blasphemous. I don't think it is blasphemous to have CeeDee Lamb above Amon-Ra, though I don't have him above Amon-Ra on my list. But where do you got him in that top 5? You got him 3, 4, 5.
2.
You got him 2. So you got you got Chase, Jefferson, and others. You got Amon-Ra number 2.
I got Amon-Ra 2. He's pretty.
Ooh, talk to me.
I mean, he's pretty consistent, and he will catch some yards and with a good set of wide receivers down the lane. So he will improve this coming season.
You think he's gonna definitely take that next step up?
He's gonna take the next step.
Hey, let's rock, man. I want to see that. And you know what? I know we got to take one more step here towards everybody's favorite part of the show.
Everybody's favorite. But before we get to that, Broder, J-Mo better than all of them. Don't make me do it, guys. Don't make me revert.
Do it.
You should wear that jersey in one day.
I might, even though the
embarrass
number
me,
is out of date. I just, and this is where
Wear it underneath the Riley Green one.
Sure. And this is where a lot of people aren't going to like this. I think some people are overrating what J-Mo did just a tad. In my opinion, what Jamison Williams had last year was a Deshaun Jackson type season.
You know what? You
And
might
that-
have to be on the. We might have to do this. Have a segment for J-Mo.
Are you gonna talk yourself into a jersey bet to get the new number, Sam?
No.
Can we J-Mo this
Dude,
thing
you
Thursday?
you suffer.
Are we gonna run it back?
No, not yet. We'll see. I'm not ready to stake that claim just yet because I already have a Davenport one going and whatnot. But I'm not ready. Like Jamison Williams is fantastic, and I've put down a lot of my swords. But like I said, right now he's Deshaun Jackson, and that's okay. Deshaun Jackson, people forget about him. Nobody could put up 1,000 yards on less than 60 receptions quite like Deshaun Jackson did and make big plays and take tops off of defenses. Am I saying that J-Mo can't be better than Deshaun Jackson? No, but I think that's about what he is right now.
Hey, let's rock.